Hey guys, this is Aiden with Odin Coding, and I'm going to show you guys how to render objects to the DOM with JavaScript. So I'm going to start out with Visual Studio Code inside a folder called DOM render, and I'm going to create two files, one called index.html and one called index.js for JavaScript. And our JavaScript is going to exist in the JS file. We're going to build an HTML boilerplate in the HTML file. So I will make another video to walk you guys through exactly how to do this, but for now, if we just type an exclamation mark and hit enter, it'll auto-generate a boilerplate for us as long as we have the correct plugin for VS Code. And I will be linking this code, that way you guys can copy this if you need to. Inside the body tag, I'm just going to create an h1 element so we can see what it looks like when we have a new element in our HTML. And we can open this in our browser by typing open index.html. So once we open our index.html file, it will open in our browser and we can see the hello world tag that we printed. And I'm going to open our developer tools and go into our elements, and you can see the actual h1 tag we typed into our HTML file. Then if we go in, we can edit that and change it to something like goodbye. And if we save that file and go back to our browser and hit refresh, you can see the h1 tag will now say goodbye. Now this is great, but it isn't technically rendering anything to the DOM. This is just editing our HTML file. So to render the DOM, we're going to need JavaScript. So here we're going to link JavaScript by putting something called a script tag. And a script tag is going to have a source attribute, and we're going to set that source attribute equal to whatever we want to import. And in this case, it's going to be our index.js file. So we're going to go ahead and type index.js, or you could just select it from the dropdown. And script usually won't auto close. We're going to have to create another closing tag for script, and that is set up to go. So now that we've linked our JavaScript file, we're going to want to actually go into index.js and write some JavaScript in this file. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a constant, and this constant is going to be set equal to a function called document.createElement, which is exactly what it sounds like. So we'll call the constant header, and we'll set it equal to document.createElement, and we'll put h2 inside of the parentheses, and that's going to create an h2 element for us, and it's going to assign it to the constant header within our JavaScript. So now we've created this h2 element, and what we want to do is actually add text to it, because an h2 with no text is not going to show us anything. So we're going to set the inner text attribute equal to any string we want. In this case, I am a header. And the last thing we want to do is select the body of the document and actually append this constant to it. So we're going to say document as an HTML document, dot body is in our body tag, dot append, and as an argument, we're going to give it the constant header that we created. So if we look at all this and save it, and then return to our browser, we're going to see that we have rendered something to the DOM. And it is exactly as easy as it seems. And if any of this is going too fast for you, don't worry. I'm going to link the code in the description and the GitHub repository. I just want to show you guys how you can also do other things. It doesn't have to be an h2 tag. We can do document.createElement for a button. And of course, we can set the inner text to button just so you can see something instead of an empty button. We'll say click me. And we will say document.body.append button. We will append that button to our document, and we save our file and go back to the browser. And you can see now we have a button. And of course, we haven't added any functionality yet, but we can certainly do that if we need to. So to render to the DOM, the only thing we had to do was create two files, an HTML file and an index.js file. We linked our index.js as a script tag at the bottom of our body tag in our HTML file with the source of the name of the file. And inside our JavaScript file, we created constants, and we set them equal to document.createElement and then the name of the element we want to create. We add an inner text to that element, and then we append it to the body of our HTML file. And that's it. We run openindex.html in the terminal, and it will pop up on our browser. Now I'm going to link the GitHub repository, like I said, but if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below and let me know what else you guys would like to see.